Welcome to my YouTube channel. So we're going to go over the Linux and Unix operating system introduction. We're going to start with Multics and the Unix operating system. So the first multi-user, multitasking operating system was called Multics, and Multics started in 1965 by MIT, Bell Labs, and GE. And in 1969, Bell Labs decided to go on its own and developed its own Unix operating system. And then in 1977, UC Berkeley, these programmers developed what's called BSD, or Berkeley Software Distribution. B BDS allowed networking capability. So this basically allowed the operating system to work in a local area network, or LAN. And then 1987, a new system was developed, which was called System V Release 4, and it was developed and became the standard Unix operating system. At this time, the Unix operating system lacked an improved kernel. So Linus Torvalds, which is, I believe, how you pronounce his name, he was the one that developed an improved kernel for the GNU operating system. So, what are the operating system structure for Unix and Linux? So there are four main structures for the operating system. The first one is the kernel, the processes, the shell, and the file system. Linux and Unix kernel structure. So there is the core of the operating system, and then we have the manages, the what manages the physical resources, which includes the memory management, device and storage management, file system input and outputs, and the CPU. Now let's go over the Linux and Unix file system structure. So in the Unix operating system, all data is organized as files, and this includes files and directories. And the file system is basically a logical collection of different files on a disk or a partition. And within the file system, we have the root, which contains all the directories and all the files. And then we have the boot directory. So the boot directory contains all the files for booting up the system. Then we have the files and the directories, which are identifiable by inode unique identifier. The rest of the other directories that we have on the Unix Linux operating system include the bin, dev, etc, lib, home, proc, tmp or temp, var, sbin, and the kernel. Now, there are three different types of files or file types. We have the ordinary files, which are files that contain just data. Then we have the directories, and these store special and ordinary files. Then we have special files. These files are for accessing hardwares like hard drives, Ethernet adapters, etc. And then now let's go over the Linux and Unix process. So the process in an operating system is basically an executable program. And then we have what's called daemons. And daemons are basically they provide service and run in the background. And then we have the shell. The shell this is a command interpreter that is an interface between the user and the kernel. It accepts commands, interprets them, and transfers them over to the kernel where they're executed. And then we have the GNU, or Born Again shell, default shell in Oracle Linux operating system. Next, let's go over the Linux and Unix user accounts. So an account, usually when you have an account, you have your username and then you have your password. A username is basically just a unique name or a login name. And the password on a Unix operating system could be is a sum of up to 250 characters used to gain access to the system. And then we have the UID, and this is basically a user identification number, which is a unique identification for a user. And then we have the GID, which is a group identification number, which is for identifying groups, right? So within the Unix and Linux operating system, we have users and then we have groups, right? So each of the users is placed in a particular group. And then we have um, different commands that we can use to reset password or to log into an account. So the pass WD or PASSWD is a command that is used to update your password in the Unix or Linux operating system. And then we have the SU command. The SU command is used to change the ownership of the login session. When you don't have, so if you just place SU and you place enter in the Unix Linux command prompt, the root is used as a default user if the username is omitted. And then we have the CD command. The CD command is used to switch to another directory. So if you are in one directory, for instance, you're in the home directory and you want to switch to the next up directory, you would just CD and then place the name of the directory that you want to go to. And then we have the command line syntax. The command line commands do not need options or arguments. So what is a command? A command is what the system should do. And what is an option? An option is how should the command run? This usually starts with a dash. And what is an argument? An argument describes what's affected. And we have Unix commands. So these are some of the Unix commands that we can kind of start out with by trying. So we have the uname, and this shows the operating system information. We have the options, and the options for uname include -A for all information, -S for the kernel name, -N for the kernel name, uh, -R for the release, and -M for the machine hardware name, -P for the processor, -O for the operating system, and -help for more information of the options. And some other commands that we have is we have date, which just shows the date and the time. We have the clear commands, and this one just clears the terminal. We have the cal or cal, which is just displays the calendar. And we have the ls, and this one just lists the files and the directories. And then you can also enter multiple commands by using a semicolon to separate the commands. Then we have the man command, and this is basically for your manual page, which provides detailed descriptions of the syntax and all different kinds of commands. So let's just go over the man command and how to navigating to the manual page. So when you navigate to, when you navigate to the manual page, you can use all these here just to navigate through the page. So you can press H for help. You can press spacebar, which shows the next page of the menu page, or you can press enter, which goes down a single line, and you can press B, which moves back to one page, and then you can put a slash and pattern, and this one just searches a specific pattern that you type. And then we have the N lowercase, which basically just finds the next occurrence of the pattern that you're searching for. We have capital N, which switches the search direction. And we have the Q. We have Q, which basically quits the manual page. And we have the user man -key keyword command. And when you are not sure which command you are looking for, this will provide the list of commands and their descriptions that's associated with the keyword. So yeah, now that we finished going over the slides, let's just go over these commands just to show you a little bit of how uh, these commands would work. So, all right, so let's go ahead and type in a simple command, right? Let's type in hostname. So as you can see, the hostname command just provides you the full name of your host on your current machine. Now let's type in pwd. pwd stands for print working directory. Now let's type in ls. ls just gives you a list of all the files and a list of all the directories in your current directory. Now let's type in cd, which stands for change directory. So let's just go to desktop. So cd desktop, and this will take you to the desktop command. All right, now if we do ls, we'll be able to see all the files on the desktop. Now let's try another command. Let's try uname. Let's do uname s, which will show you the name of the operating system. Then if we do uname r, it will show you the release of the operating system. And then if we do uname, let's see, uname l. Sorry, no, that's not it. Yeah, so if you do uname a, will show you just all the details about the operating system. So the name of the operating system, the host, the kernel version, and then you have the date, the release, and yeah. So that is pretty much it. Now, in the next lesson, we're just gonna continue on and further into more of these commands and what they do. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hopefully found it helpful. Thank you. Bye bye.